I feel like sometimes we tend to focus in on our needs. And then with our needs come potential sufferings. Whether small or big, when we focus on our needs and we have this mindset of self-centeredness, the idea of our sufferings expand in our mind and they become drastically bigger than they really are. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes our sufferings are huge, and sometimes we do sit in the consequences of our decisions. And sometimes we do sit in the troubles that this world brings us. But when we are so focused on ourselves, we're not focused on what really matters. We're not focused on the truth that the Lord has revealed to us, that He is greater. In Hebrews 1:3, the writer talks about how Jesus is the radiance of the glory of God and that He upholds the very universe by the power of His word. You see, we forget that. We truly forget how big God is. We truly forget that He has ordained everything in this world from before the setting of the foundations, that He had this plan in His mind and that His ways are truly the best ways. But it's when we're so focused on our needs that we lose sight of this. You see, growing up as a kid, I encountered so many times of suffering where needs were to be met, where my mom was diagnosed with cancer and my dad suffered a heart attack. My dad also continued in life to lose his job. And it seemed like the world was just weighing down on the shoulders of our family. We had no clue where to go from that. But you know what? God is still the same God as described before. God is the one who is powerful, who upholds the universe by the power of His word. He's almighty, creator, the one who has ordained everything, the one whose plan is the best plan. And we look at God, and then we look at our needs, and for some reason we feel like that our mind focused on our needs will get things done in an order that we feel like will be beneficial for us, but we forget that everything happening in our life, ordained by the one true God, is solved and played out, and that He is all-knowing. You see, the very thing that our needs and our sufferings are a result of is sin. And that sin entered the world and separated us from God. But praise His name, who came on earth and came in the form of man and took on what this world brings upon our shoulders and walked a perfect life so that He can look at you in the eyes and say, you know what? I'm going to die for you. Why? Because I love you. I desire this relationship that was lost. Why? Because you are in this broken and fallen world that brings on the needs, brings on struggles, brings on suffering, all of these troubles. And He looks at you and says, give them to me. Give them to me. You see, I truly believe that our faith has an element where we don't have to see or understand, but praise the Lord that He continues to reveal truth, and in that truth we see that He is a provider, a sustainer, and that He is the almighty and powerful God. And any struggle that we have, any struggle, any suffering, any need can be overcome by His grace, and that He pulls on our hearts with the very hand that has extended mercy and grace. Why? We are telling me, undeserving, we sit in the radiance of His glory as He upholds this universe, and we're thankful. Why? You're telling me, because God is almighty, and He stands with Jesus at the right hand of His throne and looks down and says, you know what? Be still and know that I am God.